In October 2025, OpenAI executed a historic corporate recapitalization. They transformed their organization from a pure 501c3 nonprofit into a hybrid public benefit corporation. The Attorneys General of California and Delaware approved this new structure based on one core financial condition. The original nonprofit foundation would retain a 26% equity stake in the new for-profit entity. To protect the mission, the architects built an internal governance control lever. The foundation holds special equity called Class N shares. These grant the foundation the exclusive right to appoint and fire the entire board of directors for the public benefit corporation. Legally, this architecture exists to secure OpenAI's founding mandate, ensuring that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. To test if this structure actually protects the public, we need to execute a reverse recursion. We will trace the logic backwards from the desired output to the mechanical foundation. We must evaluate how these governance lines actually connect and whether the system functions as a path towards its mission or as a closed loop. We will use a topological matrix approach. This means evaluating the system purely by mapping its vectors of control, capital, and fiduciary duty, ignoring the public relations rhetoric. Within this corporate architecture, there are three distinct targets we must test for logical failure. We will isolate the valuation loop, the control loop, and the independence loop. Evaluating these targets requires treating OpenAI's corporate bylaws and the Attorney General agreements as programmable logic gates. If these three loops cannot resolve their internal contradictions, they mathematically guarantee the subordination of the charitable mission to capital accumulation. We begin with Target 1, the valuation loop. At the center of the nonprofit foundation sits the Safety and Security Committee. Under the California Memorandum of Understanding, this committee holds the explicit legal authority to halt the release of dangerous, multi-billion-dollar AI models. However, this committee operates with a resource deficit. It relies entirely on volunteer directors and lacks the dedicated independent staff required to audit complex AGI systems. Plot the committee's safety authority against the foundation's wealth to see the contradiction. The $130 billion value exists as paper equity, tied to the for-profit's dominance. If the committee blocks a major release, it actively destroys the foundation's own assets by depressing the stock price. The foundation is legally mandated to ensure safety, but financially incentivized to hold its stake and prioritize rapid commercial growth. CEO Sam Altman claims zero direct equity in this structure. Yet his structural power and control over the industry scale recursively with the for-profit's expansion. The valuation loop renders the safety mandate structurally unexecutable. Fiduciaries are trapped in a cycle of financial self-destruction if they fulfill their legal obligations. Target 2 is the control loop. To understand this, we look at the external legal attacks against the October 2025 structure. In 2024, Elon Musk filed a lawsuit alleging that OpenAI systematically abandoned its founding nonprofit mission to develop AGI for the benefit of humanity. This case is moving toward a 2026 trial in federal court under a breach of charitable trust claim. We can compare the text of this lawsuit against the historical reality of Musk's own actions. In 2017, Musk proposed merging the OpenAI nonprofit into his own company, Tesla. His demands during that 2017 negotiation included majority equity control and CEO authority over the commercial entity. A founder leverages the legal system to sue over the exact for-profit transition he previously attempted to execute for his own benefit. External actors are fighting for structural corporate capture. The narrative of benefiting humanity serves merely as a secondary legal weapon in a battle for control. Target 3 is the independence loop, which evaluates the structural incompleteness of the governance model. The Attorneys General enforced a strict regulatory requirement. The public benefit corporation must have independent oversight to constrain profit motives. The foundation uses its Class N shares as a defense mechanism to prevent external capture by major investors, specifically its 27% stakeholder, Microsoft. But the structure contains a mathematical flaw. 8 of the 9 foundation board members simultaneously serve on the for-profit PBC board. This perfect overlap neutralizes the independence requirement. It creates an illusion of separation while consolidating power. These board members are drawn heavily from military and corporate backgrounds, including former NSA Director Paul Nakasone and asset managers, rather than philanthropic or safety experts. The fiduciaries legally responsible for executing the charitable mission are structurally and financially aligned with the commercial entity they are meant to constrain. In the very process of successfully blocking external capture, the architecture created the perfect conditions for total internal capture. We can now observe the entire closed-loop matrix. Valuation, control, and independence are locked in a recursive cycle. By shifting the perspective, we flatten the operational thought tree. This compresses the complex legal defenses into a single, flat structural layer. This flattened view strips away the rhetoric to expose the true mechanical reality of the October 2025 Memorandum of Understanding. In this configuration, the original charitable mission to benefit humanity remains secondary to a self-sustaining cycle of capital accumulation. The mechanical output suggests the system is operating as designed, rendering its internal contradictions permanent and unresolvable from within. If the internal governance logic is locked into a self-referential cycle, the only remaining vector for change is an external legal mechanism. That specific mechanism is a formal CT9 charitable trust complaint, championed by legal advocates like Tyler Whitmer. The operational function of this document is precise. It formally requests an immediate post-MOU investigation and an independent valuation of the diverted assets. This legal mechanism forces the state of California to reopen the Memorandum of Understanding and audit the very matrix it previously approved. The state must make a singular determination, whether an enforceable $157 billion public trust was illegally laundered into speculative equity. The architectural framework mapping this topological and recursive analysis was developed by Eric Seidenglanz. The matrix remains intact only as long as the state refuses to look at the math. The CT9 complaint serves as the terminal command that forces transparency.